Welcome to the Cannabis podcast, and to our most honestly packed episode yet, episode 5, CannaCreations. And with us today is Kristine, Lennon, and Sabrina, Aragon. And if you're wondering about this spread, today we have local art pieces applied by Nifty Gifties by Kristine, which is Kristine here.
Hi.
We'll be talking about that more later. And we'll be starting out today's episode with our podcast's first sampling, Tiki Juice, mountaintop extracts, and this will be locally produced as well. So, cheers, everyone! Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's really good.
Super
It's actually
good.
tasty.
I want this
Did
in
we
a
all get
smoothie.
the same flavor?
I got blackberry.
I got blackberry, yeah.
How do you know?
Does it tell you to yeah, it says
Piña.
shake well.
That's really what
I
it
didn't
tastes
shake.
like.
Yeah. But I'm like, this one would be perfect to just like pour into a smoothie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that.
it's really good.
It has a light, like, cannabis taste,
Mm-hmm.
but it's mostly, like, fruity, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you,
It's really
Mountaintop
subtle.
Extracts.
Mm-hmm. That's really
Welcome back to the CannaCreations podcast. Today's episode, episode 5, CannaCreations. And with me today, right now, is Kristine Lennon of Nifty Gifties by Kristine. Kristine actually did supply this great polymer glass collection today, ranging from water pieces to hand pipes. And Kristine, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
well. I started doing polymer clay. I started doing it, I guess, when I was little. That's when I first messed with clay.
Yeah.
My aunt used to do little miniature figures herself, and ever since then I've just been in love with it. It's so easy to use, and I love making all of these pieces. It's just so much fun.
And like this is such a like beautiful collection, like ranging from these are stash jars.
Yes,
you call
these
them?
are stash jars, and this is one of my bigger ones that I have here. You can.
I love like the nature effect that it has to it.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's really whimsical. I love it.
Thank you.
Do you have like a favorite like sort of type of piece that you like to make?
I really like the bongs.
Oh, okay.
The stash jars are big sellers, but I love making the bongs.
Is it okay if I lift one of them?
Absolutely.
So I think this one really caught my eye because of the little windows that you've created. I really think this is like the cutest thing ever. Mushrooms and all. And
It
look at that
glows
crescent,
too.
and it glows.
See? Yeah.
And you have a flashlight you can test that with. Correct?
Yes.
So what has been like the most rewarding part of owning your own art business?
The customers, especially returning customers, when they know who I am, and I don't and I feel horrible because they're like, I have so many of your pieces, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but that brings me so much joy when they come back for more. The first customers are always great, like when they're first time buyers, but when they come back and they want more, and even I've had people tell me like their little stash jars that they buy for their kids, they put their earrings in or whatever.
Cute.
So they're like, I have stuff of yours all over my house, and I think that's the most rewarding.
So what brought you, or what attracted you to start creating like nature theme? Do you have a specific theme that you like the most?
The nature is my favorite. Yeah.
And you
that's
do have
just
like a
me.
really cool like game piece here.
Yes.
Mario.
That
everyone?
Mario I've been wanting to do since I saw the movie.
Okay.
And my original thought was like to do a Bowser and Peaches thing, but I tried the Bowser and I'm not, I can't do him. I can't make him.
How long did this one take?
That took about 10 hours.
10
And we
hours.
did have trouble at the end with that, trying to bake it because it didn't fit in my oven.
Had
So,
to improvise, huh?
yeah.
But the end result, look at that. It's great detail too.
Thank you.
So what advice do you have for artists who would like to incorporate, like, because do you also incorporate cannabis themes to your pieces as well?
I do. I've actually started to put that out there more because at first when I started doing all this, I was just doing stash jars, and it was before recreational had happened here in New Mexico, and so I wasn't trying to push that. I was just like, this, you could put whatever you want in here. And I had a friend at a craft fair, and she was like, have you tried bongs? Have you tried putting this on bongs? And I was like, no. And she was like, you should. Wow. And so, yeah, she's actually, she's been my hype man, I guess you could say, because she's always like giving me new ideas. She gave me ideas for the dab tools. And she also sells her own pipes and stuff. She does ceramic pipes.
Wow.
Her name is Tanya.
Tanya. Shout out.
Yes, shout out. T-Euphoria on Instagram.
How cool. So like she really put that idea into your
Yeah,
head.
and she's, I had met her at my first craft fair, and she was like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You should have your own store. And so she's been a big inspiration. So any idea that she has, she'll tell me. And then I'm like, oh, yep, let's do that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And do you have any like favorite artists that inspire your work?
Yes. On Instagram, there are so many. Actually, that's where I got the inspiration for this piece right here with the moon on it. I think her name is the Moss Goddess. And that's all she does is like pipes and bongs and like dab tools. But they're so mystical looking. Like she does like Lord of the Rings theme, and like it's amazing the stuff that she does on there.
And these are so unique because you don't really typically see these in smoke shops and general areas. So it's pretty cool that you're trying to bring more awareness to the artistic side of water pieces.
Smoking in style.
And exactly, look at you. So how does cannabis influence your artistic process?
It helps my creativity.
It does.
It really does, because I can, do a session and then just for hours just be tuned in, and I'll just, tune out everything else. And it's just, it's really nice. It's a good outlet to have.
Especially when you live like such a busy life and your mind is racing on 1,000 different subjects all at once. It's nice to have a tool that you can use to really kind of silence all of that out.
Yeah.
So you can focus on your work.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And look at the end result.
Yeah, I get sucked into some of these.
So what actually piqued your interest in polymer art?
Like I said, I've been doing it for so long. And one day I was just making a jar for myself for my own stash. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of a good idea. Yeah, like I'm sure other people would like to have something cute to put their stuff into. So, yeah.
That's cool. And so do you participate in local art fairs as well?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah. I haven't this last month. I've just been trying to get more inventory going. And this past month has been super windy on all of the craft fairs that I go to. It's just really windy, and I'm afraid, like most of my stuff is glass, so I'm afraid of breaking a piece that's taken me so long to make, so I haven't been out there recently.
So when that does, because that is a common situation, people aren't really able to physically go and sell these items. Are there other avenues that people can pursue to sell their work?
Oh, yeah, I sell on Etsy as well. I'm just not able to do certain things on Etsy. They're frowned upon.
Yeah.
So I have to be very careful how I label my products, as there's some things on there that are questionable to Etsy, and they will take it down if like one of my words is not the right one. So they'll take it down, and I have to tweak it and then put it back up there. So a lot of my stuff here is not on Etsy. Okay.
And where if they were interested in purchasing?
You can message me on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook too, and we can do it through that way.
Okay, sounds great. As long as you're accessible, right? Because these are deserving of people that appreciate this kind of work.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's a lot of them out there. And And today we will actually be doing a DIY project together.
Yeah.
I'm a novice artist, I guess I would claim, but she is here to guide us, Kristine.
Yeah.
So she'll be helping us out with creating a decorative piece, dab tool, correct?
Yeah.
Dabbing is for concentrates as well, and these tools are used to move around the product within the nail. So let's get started.
Okay. So we can try to make it like that one here, and I have
I'm so fascinated.
here's some tools. You don't have to use them all, but they're good to have a selection.
And Kristine has been so kind to supply our whole session today, so thank you, Kristine.
Of course. And then I have molds too. I do use molds on a lot of my stuff too, because it's just easier. So here's all the colors. Don't know if you want to do yours like the darker wood or like a lighter wood color.
I'll do it like a darker wood. Yeah.
All right, and then I have crystals here for the tops. That's what I did with those. So I have these, and you can choose which one you want on top.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna do the lighter color? I mean, sorry, the darker color?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, so what I like to do is just soften up the clay a little.
Okay.
And I did this morning, but you know, it gets, so you just kind of like knead it a little bit until it gets pliable. And then whichever side you prefer, because you know how one of these sides is like pointy and then the other's more like a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
I think I left that one as a spoon. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this one. Yes.
So it's up to you.
Okay. I see.
I do like to ask people when they order them specifically which side if they prefer, because I do cover one.
Okay.
So this side I'll just cover the spoon and I'll leave the other part. And I just cover it all the way around
Okay.
and as far down as you want it. I like to leave some room for like messes. You know, the wax and stuff gets so messy.
All right. So I think I'll do this side. And then you just make sure that it's just completely enveloped with
Right.
the clay. Okay.
And then you should have like excess at the top.
This is pretty nifty. Am I doing this
You're
correct?
doing good. All right, and then just select your,
Kind of looks like a sorting hat. I don't know. And then just place this.
yep, you'll just kind of like stick it on the top of the excess and then kind of like bring the the rest up around it.
This one's not for sale because I won't do that to y'all.
No, I'm sure it's going to be just fine. And if it feels a little wobbly, you can add a little more
Okay.
at the top to keep it.
Steady in place?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And then when that's done, we can start with the wood grain.
Okay. I already know I'm gonna love this. This is like, especially when you like make it yourself, you know.
It
it's-
means so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it looking?
A little loppy, but it's okay.
Oh, that's good. And you don't
See,
really
this is
have
a
to like,
skill. This is definitely a skill.
you don't really have to like worry about the cracks in it or anything from the
Oh.
clay, because you're going to do the wood grain and it'll give it more effect anyway.
All right. So I think it's, yeah, this is great.
So then you could take one of these tools and then just kind of like bring it in and do more, wood
Okay.
feel.
Now, do we lightly indent here, or should we make a deep one?
It's up to you.
Oh, look at, wow, look at, that was quick. Hey, and this like also shows you don't have to be a great artist to
No, not at all.
participate, you know? I love making art, honestly. Even though I'm like literally far from, right now, right, from being a great artist, I still like to participate. It's therapeutic, honestly.
It is very therapeutic. Sometimes I'll have stressful days and then I'll just sit at the clay and then I'm like, oh, okay, there it goes.
Like,
It's
where's
gone.
my station?
Yeah. I need my station.
Don't talk to me until I have had a session. Do you study in order to get better at like the realistic effects? Like, do you
Yeah,
have references? Or?
I usually just go on to like YouTube or, where they have like tutorials of how to make certain things with polymer clay. I watch a lot of videos that have the people that make earrings out of polymer clay because they do very intricate designs with their earrings and they're so small. And they do so many things on there, different types of, they do food, earrings, and it's...
The creativity of some.
Yeah.
It's like, what? How did you...
And then you have your wood grain. How's it look?
Not that great, but here we
Here,
go.
try this one. I think that's what it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. All right.
Because this one kind of carves at it, I think.
Yeah. That's fine. That's my first. I have never done this. So.
And everybody is, you give them some clay and they start just going at it. It's so fun. My son does this all the time. He'll just come and he's like, hey, can I have some clay?
How many pieces do you work on at a time?
At a time, up to like 4 or 5, depending on what I have going on.
That's pretty
Deadlines and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm okay.
You're okay with it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's see what else we got to add. Some vines.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to do, what color would you like?
I'll do this one.
Okay. And same thing, just got to
Okay.
knead it.
Do I just leave the excess here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And how much do I need for the vines? Not too much?
No, not much at all. It's okay to do it on here. You can roll it out on here. Actually, it's not that much at all because you want to get like skinny vines.
Skinny vines, okay. So then...
And then just drape them around.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, cool.
I like to do a little swirl every now and then. Throw in a little swirl.
What do you find is the hardest to detail? Which element? Leaves?
Leaves, yeah. And that's one thing I learned from one of the girls that I follow on Instagram. She had posted a little video of how she does her leaves. Mm-hmm. And she takes actual leaves from outside and presses them into it. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's better than a mold, I guess.
That's creative, yeah.
Because then it leaves all the veins in it and everything.
This is cute.
All right. And then you can always add a little bit of leaves too. And that's what I brought these for, this little mold. So you'll just kind of get a little dot and shove it in there. Let's try this one.
How cute. I'm going to try this one.
Is it not sticking in there?
Yeah, I got it. Oh, it's stuck to my hand.
And then you got a little leaf.
And this doesn't take long at all.
No. And before I bake, I usually like to try to add some depth with color. So I use chalk pastels for that before it goes in the oven.
Okay, okay.
I also do it after too. But it doesn't please me.
Yeah. The perfectionist in us. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is turning out really, really cool. Thank you for showing us.
Of course.
And how long would you have to bake these for?
This will probably be about 20 minutes.
Okay.
I think it's 275 I put it for.
No, this looks great.
See?
Oh, how cute.
If you want to add flowers, you can add flowers too. Just kind of let it fall there. Sticking to my finger. And then I'll take this purple.
Oh, wow.
Just smush it in there. And then I take the excess off with the little razor. And then you have a flower.
I'm going to have to remember some of these tips and tricks.
And all these tools and stuff, they're not expensive at all if you wanted to do this yourself.
Okay. They like to stick to you, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Do you need help with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Cool. And I want to... And this will be the final touch.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, no.
Look at that.
That's cute. All right, I'm going to place this right here in the center. All right.
All right.
And this is what our end result. And that would be it. Thank you for
All
joining
right.
us, Kristine.
Yeah, thanks for
This
having
was a
me.
lot of fun.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the CannaFit podcast. What a great time that was. And honestly, Kristine, thank you again for providing all the supplies. That was a lot of fun today. And right now we have Sabrina Aragon. Sabrina is the COO of High Desert Relief. She's a published model, also a pole fitness enthusiast. And she has been in the cannabis industry for over 10 years.
It's been a while.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so as far as my relationship to cannabis, I came into the medical cannabis program back in 2012. I think first and foremost, this has always been a medicine for me. I really feel like whether it's the medical or the recreational market, a lot of people don't even realize how beneficial this plant is as a medicine, and they could probably be using it as a medicine and not even realizing it. So I think as far as cannabis goes, it really did save my life becoming a patient. I'm thankful for the benefits that it's given me. Obviously, the opportunities towards a career in cannabis, which I'm very proud of. This July reaches 10 years that I've been involved in the cannabis industry.
And what started your journey with cannabis?
Originally I was really trying to find a different medicine than pharmaceuticals. Whether that be dealing with, PTSD or body pain or anything like that. I really wanted to stray away from those pharmaceuticals. I think that any longer in utilizing those medicines, maybe would have not opened up the opportunities that I have right now. So I was glad to find cannabis. When I became a patient, I really just immersed myself in the culture, especially in the dispensary that I work at now. I think I ended up there because I really made myself a friend to the dispo. We kind of joke that we're the Cheers of dispensaries. So I used to go in and just kind of, chat. I would make my visit, an experience. Everybody was always so nice to me. And, you find that throughout the city at all these dispensaries. The bud tender really makes your experience and makes you want to connect with the place. So once I really found a place that I liked a lot, I think I had the passion right away. It was I'm going to be at a dispensary somewhere. And being so involved in it as a medicine, I really wanted it to be taken serious as a medicine so that, just like you've mentioned earlier when we were talking about it, breaking stigmas, I really wanted other people to view it as a medicine the way that I was, and I did want to break stigmas around how the people that were using it were being seen. I think the perpetration of the lazy stoner or, thinking that if a dispensary pops up on the corner, there's going to be more crime or there's going to be more, substance abuse or the youth are at risk. I really wanted our dispensary and our dispensary team to be the model of that is not the case. We are good people. We are good community partners. Just breaking stigma around not only as use as a medicine, but also just we're just the same as, another business on the corner. It's not as scary in there as people think it is. We're not trying to, bring a negative stereotype. We're really trying to be good community partners and a friend. That's what I found in the industry, was a lot of friends.
And that's great. And also you guys provided the educational side to it, because
Definitely.
especially with like new users that aren't familiar at all with the cannabis use or the plant itself, it's nice that there are spaces that are actually passionate enough to welcome in new users as well as educate them as well, because that is a huge component with newly starting cannabis use.
Definitely, and that ties back into the bud tender. When I was still bud tending, often that was always my favorite patient to come in. The one who had been given the card but had no idea what they were doing. Their physician told them that this was best for them, and they were like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I was like, awesome, because I'm going to tell you how great this is going to be. And what made me happy were the people that would come back and they would remember my name and they would ask for me. And I still have people, even after 10 years being like, Sabrina, you're still here. Yep, I'm just hiding in different parts of the business now. And I just still want to be seen as a community friend in cannabis,
And that's so nice, because when you have a safe space or safe people to go to, it makes it a lot easier to break away from the stigma, thoughts, and stereotypes around cannabis use.
Oh, definitely. I really feel like we emphasize particularly making sure that you feel comfortable, not, especially with the rec market. I mean, you don't want to be upsold something that you don't know, that you're not familiar with. It really is the responsibility of those dispos and those bud tenders to make sure that we know what's going out there, and so that it can still continue to be respected, whether that be the litigations or the people who are trying to use it. We don't want people coming into cannabis and being like, this is exactly what media has shown us. These stereotypes were correct. We want to make sure that we're sending people out with the right product so that we're not turning somebody into a couch potato.
Yeah, and way to break away from those stigmas by being that professional space too, that isn't so stereotyped or as easily.
Yeah, we try.
So how did your journey with jewelry creation begin?
Originally, it's so funny because I wanted to just make these particular little map pendants that I do. I wanted one for myself. I travel a lot, and every time I travel, I tend to get a little bout of homesick. So I had saw people were doing resin jewelry a lot, and I was like, oh, it would be awesome to just put whatever image you want in there. Oh, it would be great to put a map in there. So I wanted to make one of Albuquerque for myself. And I didn't anticipate when I started wearing it, people were going to be like, where did you get that? Oh, I made it. So then it just kind of spiraled from there of, creating customized maps of different cities, different parts of town, different parts of the country. I've made some from Mexico and Canada. I can do them specific to different parts of Albuquerque, which has been really cool because I've been able to make stuff that's really custom and special for people. Oh, this is where I proposed to my wife or whatever. So that's been fun. And I just kind of ran with jewelry making in general from there. It was a really good pastime for me to kind of remove myself from my day-to-day of just sitting down with some beads, sitting down with, some maps and resin and just going ham.
And then the impact that it has on others, for example, you just mentioned, people being like, oh, I could put a place where I got married, into this and make it personal. And you're like, it's just a pastime. This is nice.
Yeah, I really tried to start doing it for myself. It was awesome when I began my journey as a trimmer when I finally started working in the cannabis industry. So, fan leaves galore. It was nice to get to, meet so many other growers in the space who were like, oh, take my fan leaves. And people loved seeing jewelry with a cannabis leaf, even if it was just a fan leaf, even if it was just a sliver of the leaf. So it was cool because then people who weren't normally seeing cannabis jewelry in their space were like, can I buy that? I like that. And I think it's great how many artists now I see when I'm rolling down Art Walk and there's just cannabis leaves everywhere. It's great.
And I love the embrace of it. People are becoming more open and comfortable about sharing their appreciation for such a great plant.
Definitely.
So when you're not busy with work, what do you do on your downtime?
I love to create. I would describe myself more of not only just a jewelry maker, I just love to create in general. I do intention candles. I consider myself really a spiritual person. So, as far as candle making, I like to do the intention candles where I'm really I read tarot, so I'm associating with whatever I'm making in that way towards my intentions. I like Photography, I did a lot of black and white photography work for a long time. So when I can get behind my 35 millimeter and find a dark room to work in, that's always fun. But I've recently started modeling, and that's been a lot of fun. Other than that, love to hike, love to travel. I love pole fitness. I've been training pole fitness for about 2 years now with a couple different young ladies, local studio here, and it's been really fun. I'd say now that is probably my go-to de-stress, me time, fun activity.
What do you like most about it?
Honestly, it makes me forget about what any other worries that I have, because I'm so focused on making sure I'm nailing, whether it be the trick or the climb or just letting myself flow to whatever music I have on. I feel like it's I can hone in on it personally more. It's not about everybody else. It's not about creating for anybody else. I'm building strength, and I'm building this creative flow within myself where I can kind of tune out the rest of the world. Sometimes when I go take a class at the studio and I walk out of the door, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. The world is going on out here, you know?
Wow. And it's such a exercise too.
Truly is. You know, when I started, it really bred out of COVID. You know, I was trying to find like a good outlet for exercise. They were kind of like being really tight on the gyms at the time, but the dance studios were able to hold smaller classes. So I kind of just told myself, I'm gonna go try it and see like what happens. And believe me, the next day I was hurting. It was hard. It is a lot harder than you anticipate. But I really feel like I've been able to build more upper body strength, core strength, and just kind of dedication, you know. At the end of the day, it's all about just trying to work towards a goal for me. And I just want to feel like when I'm up there, I look good to myself, not even to anybody else. But it's been a workout. Right now, I am currently training with an entertainer via Zoom from Las Vegas, and she's been incorporating a lot of like core Pilates into it that we weren't doing before, so that I can really do those inversions and stuff. And I'm like, oh, but yes, this is great. I'm hurting in places I didn't think that I could, but it's been awesome. And, you know, a lot of the instructors that I've had, they are super Canna enthusiasts as well. So it's okay to, you know, go to class after I've smoked a joint, or after class I use a lot of topicals to kind of like, there's, you know, the pole bruising is kind of a thing in pole, just putting a lot of pressure onto certain points of your body. So I've been utilizing a lot of cannabis topicals that help with that, whether it be the soreness, the bruising. So it's awesome to get to incorporate Canna in little ways that way. But my goal is, honestly, I want to be up there with a joint in my hand spinning like it's nothing.
No, right?
Flawlessly. That's the goal right now.
Iconic. That would be so cool. And one day we'll get there. You know? As long with people like us that are willing to push the envelope a little bit about blending some worlds that aren't usually blended, you know, it's nice that we'll get there. I can envision it. Honestly.
I hope so.
And so as someone that's deeply connected in the cannabis culture, do you have like a favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh, my favorite movie of all time is Detroit Rock City. And it's basically like a buddy story set in the 70s of these 4 kids who are like trying to make it to a Kiss concert. But there's plenty of like 1970s token going on in that one. But I would say otherwise I absolutely love Grandma's Boy. I feel like I quote Dante, the weed dealer, way too much when I'm stoned. And, you know, I think for Canna shows, Wilfred is really slept on. Have you ever seen Wilfred?
Is that with the man and the dog?
And the dog,
okay,
yes. What I think is hilarious about it is just like the idea of like being so stoned that you would see your dog in this like human form, and your dog's just like hitting your bong with you. Like that's the ultimate trippy dream of being able to like just hang out with your favorite fur buddy, and they're gonna like be able to talk back with you and stuff like that. So that one's a funny one that lends a little bit more to the silly stonerness. But yeah, I would say those ones are the ones that I would go to if I'm just like, I'm going to hit my bong and just kind of, you know, be a canna baddie today and not pay attention to anything. And I just want to laugh.
And you dropped some good gems there, honestly. With those, Wilfred, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, super funny.
And what has been like your favorite aspect of pole fitness and also being a part of the cannabis industry, like the blending of the two? What has been like, I would say from both,
pole fitness and the cannabis industry, what I love the most is all the awesome people that I've been able to meet and connect with and be friends with or like collaborate with that I normally wouldn't, yourself included. But like particularly with these, going into these pole fitness with these trainers, I was incredibly intimidated. I thought that these people were going to think like, oh, this girl that isn't going to take this serious. I thought walking into a studio, everybody was going to know what they were doing. And no, it's a lot of like empowering each other. My favorite thing was just like finally nailing the climb or finally nailing a move and the whole class being like, yeah, girl, yes.
Wow.
Like I love that energy. I really love an energy in any aspect where people are cheering for each other. And I think I've been able to be a part of that both in the pole fitness community and in the cannabis community. It's just I want to be a part of those circles that cheer each other on, whether it's like I'm trying to get to the top of that pole and just hold it, or like, man, I'm really trying to expand my terp knowledge. You know what I mean? The littlest thing. Like I just like to connect with people. That's my favorite part.
Wow. What a great guest you've been. That would be our interview questions. Where can our audience find more of you?
Awesome. I would say next weekend, if I'm not sure when this comes out, but August 12th, I'm going to be participating in a big art release, hair show, beer release at 2505 Craftworks. It's a big show called Ignite 3.0. It's one of the few events that I sell my art at. But usually when I pop up, I pop up at some of these local art shows, like at the breweries, at Sister Bar. You can find me on Instagram. Art page is La Curandera 505. My Canna page is NM Canna Bruja. And if you're interested in my modeling, that's Lucy Ford Smile. You can also find me published in Retro Lovely magazine in a couple different issues. Yeah. That's about it.
Awesome. Well,
or you can find me at High Does Really.
Bam! That's the drop. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
it was a
thank you
great
guys so
time.
much. It was awesome. This was great.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.
For sure. And that would be it. Our episode 5, CannaCreations, with Sabrina Aragon and Kristine Lennon. Thank you all for joining us today. What would you guys have any final thoughts of the episode?
This was awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. We got to check out all of Kristine's awesome stuff that I'm going to have to fight not to buy.
Honestly unique. And just a little, what would be your favorite cannabis strain if you had to pick?
There's so many.
There's
There are.
I don't know. Lately, I've been digging the
Sativa.
Gorilla Glue. I think that's I don't know.
An indica?
An indica, yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Tropicana Cherries.
Okay.
Which it's a sativa, and I'm normally not a sativa person, but it tastes like Fruity Pebbles, and it makes me so happy. And if I'm not already super giggly, it makes me even more giggly.
So keep an eye out for those. Thank you all again for joining us today on the Cannabis Podcast.